years, we have found that when you help women and girls in low and middle income countries, you help families, you help communities, you help entire countries develop and develop in the right way. But one thing that we've also found is that women and girls need positive models of success to help them. Linda Lockhart decided to do something about it, and in fact, she formed the Global Give Back Circle. And what she does is that she works primarily in Kenya right now with a group of other very, very committed people, very committed women, to help other women find success. So in late 2010, we sat down with Linda and talked about how all of the work gets done with a Global Give Back Circle. So let's go to Linda Lockhart right now.
In September of 2005, I was working in Istanbul, Turkey, and turned on the TV and saw my favorite person, Larry King. And he was giving an interview at that particular day with President Clinton. And it was the beginning of the first Clinton Global Initiative. He said a few things that caught my interest. And one of the things he said that I remember is that we are going to pull all these people together, and you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be a CEO. You just have to have a good idea. And he said, I'm pulling together a forum where talking is not allowed unless it's talking with a commitment to action. And we're going to make people fill out these forms that they're going to do something. And if you do something, you're invited back. If you don't do something, you're not invited back. And I liked that a lot, and it stuck with me, and I thought, this is kind of cool. I can have a good idea. I don't necessarily have to start an NGO, and I can be a part of this Clinton Global Initiative. And at that point, I thought, what can I do? And I was actually spending time in Africa working in consulting throughout Africa, and my first thought was, I can mentor a girl. I can do that.
Mentor?
I'm working, yes, I can mentor. I'm working full time, but I can do that. I can give back time and talent. And I spoke to a few of my girlfriends, and they said, well, we can do that too. So 10 of us got together and decided to start mentoring 10 girls. And that's how it started. Good question, because some people challenged me with that question when I started the program. You hit the nail on the head. Sustainability in the Global Give Back Circle is embedding a give back ethos so that the girls that are beneficiaries now are actually benefactors once they've gone through the process where we've helped them complete their education and become employed. But many people said, how can you ask girls who have nothing to give back? And I thought, that's pretty presumptuous to think that they wouldn't want to give back, and you're assuming that they're going to be giving back money. What we've learned, and what the girls have learned, is they can give back a lot in time and talent. And one of the ways they learned to give back, actually, was through a workshop that we conducted, and we conducted every year. And they create a give back commitment. And at the end of that year, they actually put together our give back progress report. But we needed a foundation for the workshop, and that's what connected us to the Clinton Foundation. Is Bill Clinton wrote a book back in 2007, and the name of the book is called Giving. And in 2007, a group of us were heading down to Kenya to give a workshop on giving back. We didn't even know what this workshop was going to be about. We had no content. We figured we'd make it up on the plane. And someone called someone and said, have you seen this book that's out? And I took one look at it and thought, this is it. It's our workshop. Girls, everyone bring 10 copies. So we had 50 copies in Kenya, created a workshop around the book, and the girls read certain chapters, giving back time and talent. And there was a huge aha moment, like, wow, I can do this. So this is a prerequisite now. Every year when a girl comes in the program, and she comes in her freshman year of high school, we bring them in as freshmen, mentor them throughout those 4 years. When she comes on board, she reads Giving, she creates her give back commitment, and it can be something as simple as, I'm gifted in math. I'm going to tutor a girl who's less gifted in math on how to be good in math. It could be something as simple as saying, there is a children's home across the street from the school. I'm going to work in that children's home for 3 hours every Saturday. The important thing, and this is very important, about them giving back and feeling good about it, is our program's about empowerment. If you look up a definition for empowerment and try to understand what it means, they're very fuzzy, to be empowered. But what does that mean? If you dig deep into the word empowerment, it means implementing something successfully. The more we implement something successfully, the more empowered we are. If you are a poor girl with nothing, You can do one thing successfully. You can give back. So every year when they do that progress report on giving back, they're empowered. And this empowerment we're building into them through high school that's the empowerment that's going to enable them to go for a job and an interview and a scholarship to the United States, complete university. They're conditioned now to giving back and doing it well and implementing something well. I didn't want to start an NGO. I figured there's other good ones out there. Why can't I piggyback with a good one? But I had a good idea. So we incorporated that and connected ourselves with a great NGO in Kenya, the Kenya Community Development Foundation. The World Bank supports them, the Aga Khan supports them, the Rockefeller Foundation supports them, and they had a mission for the girl child. So it's all about collaboration in this world. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We met with them, they loved what we were doing, and they implement our program on the ground. But we bring mentors to the program from all over the world. So I work with other women in California, in New York, in London, and in Paris, and we're the mentoring team, plus Kenya. We have a lot of Kenya mentors, working closely with the implementation team. And we're all part of a circle, but there's another element in the circle, and we didn't realize, actually there's two other important parts of the circle that we didn't realize how important they would be until we started the program. And that is the local community. If that local community doesn't embrace that, and when I mean the schools where the girls come from, the high schools. In Kenya. If they don't embrace it and they're not aligned with what we're doing, it won't work. But the fourth part of this circle is the private sector. And that's the part we only realized was important when we needed to start to get money to take these girls past high school into tertiary education. I can't go around begging for change all the time from individuals and foundations in the United States to help Kenya girls. They may do it once, they may do it twice. What had to happen was Kenya's private sector had to realize this is something we need to do because, and I'll quote President Clinton again, it's just plain good economics. The business strategy of human capital development linked to compassion is good economics. Private sector is critical to our success. We now have on board 17 members of the private sector, either CEOs or managing directors, whether it's KLM, General Motors, GE, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, Citibank, Barclays Bank, Standard Chartered, and Equity Bank, who all stepped up to the table and said, we're going to support and take forward 5 girls, 10 girls, 40 girls. They're the ones who are actually investing in taking these girls through college and university because they know when they're done, they're going to have not only a great workforce, a benevolent workforce, because the girls are giving back. If you go back to the beginning of that mission, it's harness the talents of women globally to work with women locally to transition these girls. The success is the fact that we have 300 girls now in the program. We have just about 200 mentors. We're always recruiting mentors. It's hard to get a good mentor as it is to get money. Really, we work very hard at this. So there's 200 of these women globally who are supporting this program by mentoring one girl very personally. When you talk about, or you asked me to talk to you about success stories, you actually have one of the mentors in the program that is living in Seattle right now. And she has been mentoring a girl in Kenya for the past 4 years. And her girl is about to go into university. She has just finished the Microsoft ICT Lab course. And they are so close that when her son went to visit Kenya about 2 years ago, he actually made a point to visit the girl that she's mentoring. Lena is now a part of their family. She'll probably never come here. Probably never. She will finish university in Kenya. She will work in Kenya, probably as a nurse. I think that's what her mission is. But her family is here in Seattle, and she's part of that family forever. I can take girl by girl, and I can see all of their faces. And I can see Karen, who's mentoring. Karen is from Los Angeles, mentoring Trufina. There's Susan from Scarsdale, New York, mentoring Linda. We have Peggy from Rye, New York, mentoring Vivien. All of these mentors have been with these girls for almost 4 years. And if it weren't for those mentors, the girls would not be where they are. you have to have the empowerment and the enablement together. The enablement is we get them the money, we get them into universities and colleges and the Microsoft lab, but the empowerment is just as important. 50% of our girls are orphans. There is nobody telling them, you can do it, but their mentor does. Yes. I think the mentors get more out of it than the girls do. I'm working on a book at the moment, and the real message in this book is not how we have changed their lives. It's how they've changed our lives.
So how has your life been changed?
Oh, I wake up every morning. I wake up, I have my cup of tea, I pull up my emails, and there's always an email there from one or two girls over in Kenya that they've done something remarkable, and they want to share it with me. And that's how I start my day. When you come from a poor country like Kenya, a high school education alone is not going to get you the kind of employment you need to really break out of the circle of poverty and give back and help generations that follow. You need a skill of some sort to get you a good job. When we go to the private sector and ask them to help us, we're actually asking them to help us the day that girl graduates high school. Help us take her a little bit further so that that return on investment that charity put forward to get her through high school really is a return on investment. So that she can work, she can be employed, she can be a global citizen, and she can give back. We're learning as we progress with the implementation of this program. And we initially called it a circle because it made sense. A circle of giving, one generation to the next. But we're actually rethinking the concept of circle and thinking it's probably more like a spiral. Because a girl circles and learns something and gains powers, and then she spirals out a little bit further and a little bit further, so much so that she's actually spiraling up. And she learns something, comes back, catches her balance, spirals to a next level, catches her balance, spirals to a next level. And when you think about it, we have them in high school, and they're doing their give back commitments, and they're being mentored, but then they move out of that high school phase, and they move into the phase of the ICT lab that Microsoft is supporting. They've broadened that circle a lot. They broadened it through more knowledge they're gaining through ICT skills. Their give-back commitments now, instead of just tutoring a girl in their class, they're actually working at Kenyatta Hospital all day on Saturday. So that circle's a whole lot bigger. And after that, they then move on to university and college, bigger circle, still giving back until they actually reach a point where their mentor has mentored them so well they spiral upward and they become a mentor. The reason I no longer think of this as just a circle, as a spiral, because the girls have gone far beyond the circle. And a good example is Vivien Onano. Vivien was one of the first 10 girls in the group that I found mentors for. And Vivien is a B+ student. She's a B+ student with an A+ will. That's the best way to describe her. It is very difficult for a Kenyan girl to get a full scholarship to the United States. Very difficult. It's the A+ students only that happens to. Knowing that Vivien was a B+ student, I was trying to manage her expectations to be very happy about the fact that she was getting a sponsorship and scholarship to a great university in Kenya. But she never stopped believing she wouldn't get a scholarship to the United States. And we nickname her I Am, because if there ever was an I Am, it's Vivien. She'd noodle along, use the internet, sending out applications and saying, you know, Linda, I think I'm getting close to getting this scholarship. And I would manage her expectations and say, you know, Vivien, even if you don't, you're going to get a great education here in Kenya. 2 months later, she said, I got that scholarship. I have a full scholarship to Carthage College in Wisconsin. I says, let me see that. I want to make sure this is right. And I remember saying, are they taking care of your room and your board and your tuition? She says, I think so. Let me get back to you. Yep. Books, room, board, tuition, medical. It was unbelievable. But I'm not surprised, because she was so empowered and to believe she could do anything she wanted to do, that this is what happened. She's since, and I think because of her courage, has empowered other girls to also really, really go for the moon. We have, Vivien graduated high school in 2008. The girls who have graduated in 2009, more and more of them are using the internet to apply and throw something out in the universe, just like Vivien has, because she really is their role model. We take the girls into the program in high school, but their high school tuition is paid for by some charity.
How much is tuition in Kenya?
In Kenya, tuition includes, in high school in Kenya, they live there also. So it's not just tuition, it's room and board.
So
High schools
are these private schools or public schools? Or?
Private and public are boarding schools in Kenya.
Oh.
Yeah. So the all-in cost for a girl to go to high school in Kenya ranges anywhere between $600 a year to $1,000 a year, depending on where that school is located. That's a good question. It depends on who you talk to. There are many who believe that the girl, being as empowered as she's becoming in Kenya, is going to be a threat to the boy. And now focus has to be given to also empowering the boy child, to make sure that the girl child doesn't become so empowered that the boy loses a sense of his self in the society. I will not stop giving up on the girl child, because my fear is that the minute they become equal, the inequities start again. I think for the rest of our lives, we have to continue to fight for the rights of women and girls in the world, because the minute it does become equal, something funny always just shifts. Oh, that, again, we found out about the gap period only by working in this process. We thought, okay, we're going to get sponsorships to help these poor girls go to university in Kenya and leverage the school grant system. They need to have skin in the game too. And they have a very good higher education loan system in Kenya for university students. What we didn't realize is that if you're a poor girl and you apply for this special assistance, you have to wait 21 months from the time you graduate high school until you start university. What happens to a poor girl with no home in 21 months? It's a terrible fallout period. And if you think about it, you did manage. You had the brains that enabled you to get into university. You would get the loan, and through our program, we would top up the money the loan doesn't take care of. But you have to wait 21 months. We would probably lose at least 75% of the girls. So we decided to treat this gap period as a gateway, that we're not going to lose them, we're going to actually keep them together and create a bond by having them together, but also teach them skills that will put them one step ahead when they do go to university and give them a safe place to live. And that's when Microsoft came into the picture. We approached Microsoft about the gap period, and through a lot of collaboration, and it was their idea, it wasn't my idea, that we build these ICT labs in Nairobi. We have one already built, and the second one, 75% completed. It will be completed in about 4 weeks. But next to these ICT labs are dormitories. So the girl lives in the dormitory, learns ICT skills for 9 months, and it's beyond Excel and Word and PowerPoint. They learn financial accounting, business law, great skills they need to go out into the world. Frankly, at the end of that 9-month period, they can get a job. What then happens is we get them internships. So all of these private sectors who are helping us with the funding take them on as interns, and they work as an intern setting up databases, doing all these things they can do with these skills they have. They work as an intern until they start university. So we've turned the gap into a gateway, not only of acquiring ICT skills, but getting work experience. The 5 Selves was actually developed by one of our mentors, a very wise mentor from Michigan. And she developed it for her 2 sons to help coach them through their lives on their different selves. The 5 selves, there are the physical self, the emotional self, the intellectual self, the relationship self, and the spiritual self. Thank you. What we teach the girls is that at any one point in time, one, maybe two of those selves are out of joint. We're never completely in balance, none of us. In fact, I could probably ask you what self is out of joint in your life right now.
Oh, let's not go there.
What we also do is teach this to the mentors, the concept of my five selves. So what this does, you can imagine you're a mentor in California, you have a girl in Kenya. How do you start talking to each other when you're connected, through the internet? You talk about your five selves. So I might say to a girl that I'm about to mentor, let me tell you a little bit about my five selves and you tell me about yours. The physical self is one that a lot of the girls are challenged with right now because their diets are so poor that they're conscious and of their bodies more than they ever were before. They're conscious that maybe they may be fat. So we have to convince them, you're not fat, you're healthy. Just because you see these images on the internet of these painfully thin models, don't think that that's healthy. So the physical self is something we're constantly coaching them on because there's a trend right now, because of what they see on the internet, to try to starve themselves to be thin. So we're always coaching them on the physical self. And the physical self also is a lot of coaching on exercise. We coach them a lot on the fact that they should be exercising more and that will help them physically. But then the challenge is they don't have hot showers. They only have cold showers. They don't have hot water at the schools. So you're saying to a girl, run around, the campus, and then at the end of the day, she can't shower. So we're always balancing culturally what's acceptable and what is good for them. I don't think so. I don't think it is at all. What we found with the spiritual self is the girls are actually reverse mentoring the mentors on the spiritual self. These girls are very spiritual. And what the feedback that I get from mentors is they're developing their spiritual self more by their relationship with the girl.
So, does religion matter?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter at all. In fact, when we describe the spiritual self, we actually describe it as the God that you believe in. Yes, we have. If I ever get questions from mentors, it's how to answer a question on my relationship self. When the girls are in school, we're assuming the relationship self is with other girls, which it probably most likely is. But the minute they start moving out into the ICT lab and into university, it's the boy question and relationships about boys. And this is something that the mentors need to be coached on how to approach certain questions. But it's a very important time for a mentor and a girl when that relationship self conversation is around the young men.
Well, one of the things that we have heard, and Vivien Onano in the interview that we did with her talked about how some of her friends would be sold, get pregnant by the time they're 14, 15 years old, have 3 or 4 children by the time they're 19, and that's not what Vivien wants for her friends. Do you have discussions about that in the relationship self?
We do. We do.
How do you resolve them?
It's difficult because you have to realize that their parents, not all of them, but many of them, would rather have them come home and sell them for cows and work in the family fish business. So it's a difficult one, but we try to get the girls, and this is the best way we go about it, because there's guilt. There's a huge guilt on the part of the girls. The rest of their family is starving, and they're going on for this education. They're getting a wardrobe. They're being empowered. What we do is try to get them to think about the fact that they're doing this to help their family. So they have to convince their family is stick with me 4 more years, or even 2 more years, and I'm going to be at a point where I can dramatically help us, as opposed to me going back now and just making pennies. We also encourage them when they take on these internships. We encourage them, and through the financial literacy course, to think that 10% of the money that they make, they give to their family. So we have them create a pie chart on how they use their money, and 10% should always go to help their family. And they keep that in their minds. So there's just little things we have to do to coach them.
Have there been instances, though, where the family has gotten in the way so much that the girl had to leave, or the girl either had to leave her family or leave the program?
Yes, yes.
How
Every
did you
year,
handle that?
it's really difficult. Every year around this time, because they graduate high school in November, every year around this time we find out that a girl is not coming back in January. Because she's gone home to, there are certain regions in Kenya that are very, very far away. Turkana, very, very far north. When that girl goes back home to Turkana, it is very difficult for us to get her back to Nairobi to continue the program. It's actually a function of the program. We know, and we never know ahead of time who those girls are going to be. And I'll get an email. The emails will start to come right around Christmas from the directors of the school. Rosemary's not coming back. Virginia's not coming back. And
Do you contact the parents in some way and say, this is really good for her?
we try. We try.
Do you talk with fathers?
I don't. I let the local community talk to the fathers.
What do they say?
I'm going to give you an example of one father that his daughter became pregnant. She became pregnant in the period between the lab and her internship. And everyone assumed that we were going to take her out of the program. But we weren't going to do that. We were going to embrace her and keep her in the program. She had the baby. The baby stays at home with an aunt. She doesn't have a mother. And we've arranged for her now to go to nursing school. And her father personally, and I heard this through the local group, because the local Kenya Community Development Foundation, her father personally brought her to nursing school first day, and the Kenya Community Development Foundation coordinators were there on the ground when that first day happened. And they said that her father was in tears. He was in tears because he just assumed that we were going to throw her out of the program and forget about her because she had a child out of wedlock. And there was a lot of hugging and tears and crying, but it was a father who really appreciated the fact that his daughter's being taken through this program, even though one would say she did something that was morally incorrect. What do you think? Yes, I have changed. I haven't changed my shopping habits. I still love to shop. I may be helping change them, but they've changed me more. Is you're actually giving a voice to people who are doing things to create change. And you're using media to do that. And you're bringing us all together in one forum. So my guess is if I'm watching this Rainmakers production someday, and I'm sitting at home in my living room somewhere in the US or in other parts of the world, there's something in that film that's going to connect to me. And I'm going to say, I can do that. One of the things we love about Rainmakers is learn, engage, and act. You've hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Stan. Thank you very much for having Rainmakers be a part of the Global Give Back Circle.